Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there lived a king called Darius. Now Darius ruled over the kingdom of the Medes and the Persians, and because it was so huge and had 120 provinces, he appointed 120 satraps to help him. Then he needed 3 governors to be in charge of the satraps. There were lots of very clever men in his kingdom to choose from, but the wisest of all was a man called Daniel. Daniel was only a young boy. He and some of his friends were taken prisoner away from their country of Israel, and ever since they had been living in Babylon. Babylon had been conquered by Persia, and now, all these years later, Daniel was old, grandpa old, but he had never forgotten his own country and his God.
Daniel, come forward. Daniel, I'm delighted with the job that you're doing. Everything in the kingdom is running particularly well, and it's all thanks to you. I'm going to promote you. I'm going to promote you above all my officials. Come here.
But not everyone was pleased about Daniel's promotion. Some of the king's other officials were really jealous, and they wanted to get rid of Daniel. So these men came up with a cunning plan to get rid of Daniel. Now, King Darius was a very vain man, and he loved it when people told him how wonderful he was.
Most wonderful King, you are so powerful, in charge of everything in the whole kingdom. Why don't you issue a royal law and sign it so it covers the whole kingdom? And that law will be that in the next 30 days, no one will pray to anybody except you. And if anybody breaks that law, they will be taken and put into a den of very, very hungry lions, Your Majesty.
So he listened carefully to what his governors had to say.
Yes! Yes! High five! Yes!
But Daniel had a problem with the new law. He couldn't obey it. You see, Daniel believed in God, and because of that, he prayed and talked to God at least 3 times a day, looking out of the window towards Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Was Daniel worried? Not at all. Not even a little bit. You see, Daniel had known God all his life, and he knew he could trust him. He knew he didn't have to worry about what would happen because God was in control. So he continued to pray.
Oh, we are sorry to tell you, Your Majesty, but Daniel pays no attention to you or to your law. He still prays 3 times a day. We saw him.
I'm sure you are mistaken. And anyway, Daniel is my most important advisor. I can't throw him into a den of lions.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but you put the law in writing, and you cannot reverse it.
King Darius realized that he was caught out. He had made a decision, and even though he was so powerful and in charge of so much, he couldn't change what he had done. So the king and his guards took Daniel into the very far end of the palace gardens. There they kept a cave full of lions. They had to keep them there because they were so dangerous, and their hungry roaring was so loud.
Daniel, I'm so sorry, but I have to do this to you. It's the law, and I can't do anything about it.
You would think that Daniel would have been shaking and scared. How would you feel if you were going to be thrown into a den of hungry lions? Was Daniel worried? Not at all. Not even a little bit. You see, Daniel had known God all his life, and he knew he could trust him. He knew he didn't have to worry about what would happen, because God was in control.
Daniel, I hope the God who you always obey will save you from this terrible fate.
Well, what an awful thing to happen. Poor Daniel. I would have been very terrified by the very thought of being fed to lions. As for the king, he was really upset, and he didn't sleep a wink all night, worrying about what was happening to Daniel. And the next morning, he rushed to the door of the cave with his guards to see what had happened. But you see, what King Darius didn't know, but Daniel did, was that actually he wasn't the most powerful person in the kingdom. He wasn't in control of everything, no matter what his governors told him. Daniel believed in God, the God who created the whole world, even lions. He knew that the God who made the heavens and earth and put all the stars in the sky, the God who made us, was the real person in charge of things. He knew that God, the Creator, had the power to keep him safe.
Oh my goodness, Daniel, I can't believe you survived. I just can't believe it, and you're okay.
I'm fine, Your Majesty. God sent his angels to tell the lions to keep their mouths shut so they didn't eat me. I haven't even got a scratch on me.
And then, do you know what happened? Well, King Darius decided to make another new law, and he wrote it down and sent it throughout the entire kingdom. And do you know what it said?
I declare that from now on, throughout my whole kingdom, everyone must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. He is the living God, and he endures forever. He rescues and saves people, for he is in control of everything. And he rescued Daniel from the power of the lions.